Hi everyone. In today's challenge, we are going to solve this problem. The problem name is Snapshot Array and the problem number is 1146. Alright guys, so as usual, first of all, we are going to clearly understand this problem statement. After that, we are going to move to the logic part. We are going to see how we can solve this problem. And after that, we are going to move to the implementation part. We are going to implement our logic in C++, Java and Python programming language. Fine guys, now let's see what this problem says, right? So problem says implement a snapshot array that supports the following interface. So what we have to do, we have to actually design something, right? We have to actually implement something, right? So what we have to implement, we have to implement the snapshot array. So the first thing is nothing but we could say constructor, right? Here the first is nothing but constructor, which is taking a one argument that is nothing but length, right? So in this parameter, what we have to do, we have to do initialize an array like data structure with a given length. Initially, each element equal to 0. See guys, they haven't told that we have to actually initialize array only. No, we can do anything like an array, right? So we have to initialize something like array of the length, whose length should be equal to this given length, right? Alright, so the second function is nothing but we can say set, and the return type is void. That means we don't have to return something. So what it do, it take a two parameters, index and value. So set the element at the given index to be equal to the value. So basically this index means the let's say the length was initially 5, right? So the constructor you have length 5, so that means you have initialize array like data structure with length 5, right? Now it says that at that particular index you have to set this particular value. So let's say it says that 2 comma 4, that means at second index we have to set a value 4. So you can see that here is second index, so now here we have to put nothing but value 4, right? So this is the basically meaning of this particular function. Now the third function is nothing but snap. The snap function doesn't take any parameter, and but it has to be written something, right? So we have to return something in this function. What we have to return, take a snapshot of the array and return the snap id. So we have to take a snapshot of an array. Now we have to return that snap id. The total number of times we called snap -1. So guys, I hope you know the snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but basically take a image of that particular thing. Like if you will go in little depth, that means let's say I take a snapshot of this particular screen, right? And after that, do I do change any of things? Doesn't matter guys. If I want to go to that particular snapshot, I can go, I can just go to my we can see this file explorer and check out that particular snapshot. I can see that particular information, right? And in depth, if you will see that, you can search that come under the cloud concept, right? So that is a different snapshot. Fine. So what we have to do in this function, just we have to take a snapshot. That means if later someone asks me that what is the value of any particular index, so I could able to tell them, right? So snapshot here, this particular it play that particular role, that it may ask in future what is the value of that particular index at that particular time. All right. So the last function, which is nothing but get function, it also take two parameter, index and snap id. And here we have to basically return that particular value which is present at a given index, which is given to us at that particular snap id. Now I hope you get it. So let's say initially the snap id was 0. I hope it makes sense. Initially snap id 0, and I have put something on the second index 4, right? Later on, in a snap id 1 means it take a snapshot. Okay, so we have taken a snapshot of this one. Now our snap id become 1, and now I have updated that value to 6, right? But now it all the function get, and here pass index 2 at snap id 0. So it asks us that tell the value of second index when the snap id was 0. So you can see that now we can't return 6, right? Even though it is present at second index, we have to return 4 only because it was present at the snap id 0, right? I hope you are getting it. Snap id, just you can see that keeping a like in a github, it keep a record, right? Whenever you commit something, you can go to the previous one, right? So you can say that on that particular commit, I need to see what is the written on that particular line. I hope it makes sense, right? If you, even you are not getting, just try to be bear with me. Just spend 4 or 5 minutes, you will get everything with the help of logic part, or we can say implementation part, right? So now let's see the example one and try to understand again in detail, right? So let me delete all these things. All right. So guys, in example one, we have this we can say set of function which are getting called. The first one is snapshot array. So let me write snapshot array is nothing but constructor, right? So let me just see the arguments. So here they have given 3, that means 3 length. So we have to make an array of 3 size, right? So we have making an array 3. Now they told us set at 0 index 5. So set at 0 index 5. So we have set at 0 index 5. Now they told us that take a snapshot, right? Here, second, third function snapshot. So we have taken a snapshot. So we can't touch this array now. We have to move to new array. And here we have like this currently, right? So we have taken a snapshot. So snap id was initially was 0, we have defined, right? And after that, now snap id will be a new id which is equal to, you can say, +1, right? So it is going to be equal to 1, right? So now whatever the function is getting called, that will call in this particular array, not in this one, right? So we have taken a snapshot that has been decoded, we don't touch it, right? Now they say that set on 0 index 6. So now it say just set a 0 index a 6 value, right? So we have set the 0 index 6. Now this says get at 0 index when the snap id was 0. So we are going to return 5 because snap id 0, the value was at 0 index nothing but 5. So answer is going to be nothing but equal to 5 only. So this was the simple, guys. I hope you understood this, right? So that was the simple problem. And what we can do, guys, now we can move to the logic part. I hope you understood the problem. And let's move to the logic part, right? So let's write here logic. By the way, guys, if we are wondering why 0 come, because earlier snap id was 0, so we have to return, whenever we take a snapshot, we have to return the previous id, right? So before incrementing that, we have to return the previous. So initially was our 0, so we return 0, right? If you were getting confused what is 0. Alright, so now in logic part, how we can do this particular problem? So in logic, what we have to do actually, guys, we have to keep record of every element, right? Means we can say every array whenever a snap is getting recorded, right? And we can, like, the brute force, we can say brute to brute force, like max brute force is going to be nothing but you can make an array or you can make a map with respect to snap, and their data type is going to be nothing but array, right? Means key is going to be snap id and value is going to be nothing but array. So initially snap id will be 0 and you will have this array, right? Fine. And after that you will have this array of 3 line. Fine. And you have inserted 5 in this. Now whenever snap is getting called, you have to increment from the this particular id 0, or you can keep a variable. So now you can insert in your map 1 with respect to the same value, right? And here you are incrementing, setting again a 0 index value which is nothing but 6. Fine. And now they are calling a get function with respect to snap id 0. So you will come to this particular id, this particular id 0, and you will say just give me first of all that array. You will find that array. Now you will find an index which is 0. So you are going to find index 0 5 and you are going to return 5. So this is the brute to brute force approach, which is going to take a lot of time as well as a lot of space, right? So this, but you can solve this, right? It's not like that you can't able to solve this problem. You can solve it, but yeah, time complexity and space complexity is going to be little high. So how we can overcome this one? So brute force to the overcome is the first approach. We can say the logic 2, which is a later fine, means not going to take a much time, or the space will also be less. But let's see how we can do this, right? So what we can do, guys, we can say that on each, I could say on an array, you can say, like, let's say we have 3 array, right? So 3 size of array in example 1. So let's create an array of 3 size. So here on each index we are going to put not an integer, we are going to put a hash map, or we can say dictionary, or we can say map, right? So what it's going to do on these things, it's going to keep a map of the snapshot and we can see the value, right? How this is going to do? Let's say we want to set on 0 index 5 value, right? So what it can say, initially our snap id was 0. So on 0 you have to insert the value is nothing but 5, right? This will gonna remain same, right? Even though if in later it want to update, so what we can do, we can say on this only 0 index, this is a hash map, right? So you can overwrite it from on 0 snap id, you can say it's 6, right? I hope it makes sense, right? But if you will see here, we have whenever we are taking snapshots, so what we are doing actually, we are incrementing the snap id. So automatically it, what it's going to do, it's going to take a new value, new key, and here it's going to put this thing, right? So this will keep going, right? So here if you can see that on 0 index we have 2 snapshot, means there are 2 values which are getting stored in particular 0 index, right? So whenever they will call a function get with the snap id 0, so we are going to return 5. Whenever they call a function with snap id 1, we are going to return 6. So this is how you can map this as well. I know it's hard to understand first time, but whenever you do it practically, or you will spend a little time over here, then definitely will get a better idea what we are trying to do here, right? So now let's move to the third approach which we are going to implement it, and which is I would say the currently I find the better than these two approaches. So what is that approach? So that approach is nothing but we are going to use array only, right? But a 2D array. And so let's say what is 2D array. Instead of hash, what we are going to do, we are going to use a 2D array. So let's move to this. So initially we have 3 size, right? So inside of this also we have one array. See guys, now this is compare this with example 1, because this is we are going to implement it, so you may not get lagged out. So just focus over here. First of all, we call an constructor and we declare an array of 3 size. Inside that also we have an array. That makes sense, right? After that, whenever a set function calling, So we are going to that particular index. So here you can see they are called as 0 comma 5. That means on 0 index they want to insert 5. And remember our snap id is initially nothing but equal to 0, right? So what we'll go to, we go to 0 index, we come to here, and we see that on this index what you have to do, you have to insert let's say 0 means 0 snap id and value is 5, right? And this two value, or because this two index is going to remain same. Fine. After that they take a snapshot. Okay, so nothing what we are going to return 0, and we are going to increment snap id with a +1, right? So snap id is going to be nothing but 1, and we have written 0. Now they call again function set with a we can say 0, on 0 index the value should be equal to 6. So we are going to append it over here. In this 0 index we have an array, so 0 comma 5 initially here. After that we are going to append 0 comma 6, and this is go like this. I hope this makes sense, right? After that they call get. Now what we are going to do, we are going to get at 0 index with a snap id, we can say 0. So guys, we can't directly go over there, we can traverse over it. If we started traversing over it, so it also going to take a time, but it definitely gets submitted. Believe me, it will get submitted if you will just say okay on 0 index. So I will take my 0 array, 0 index array, and I will keep traversing, because this is in sorted order, right? This is in 0, we can say here I have to write 1, right? This is 1, so this is 0, this is 1, next it's going to be 2 or 3 or 5, right? Directly it could be 5 as well, but it will always going to be sorted order. I hope it makes sense, right? So whenever we have this thing, we can traverse it and we can check it. The first value whenever we are getting equal to snap id, don't take it. The last value whenever we are getting a snap id equal to snap id, just return that particular value. But didn't you notice that if the value is in sorted order, can't we use a binary search? Yes, we can do. We are going to use a binary search, and here with the binary search we are going to find the last we can say the this particular snap id equal to the our given snap id in function, and return that particular value. So this was the simple logic what we are going to do. We are going to slice first of an 2D array, means in an array of length, inside also one empty array. After that we are keep appending it, or we can say after that we are keep adding that particular snap id with respect to that value on that given index. And after, or we can say whenever get function is getting called, we are going to take that particular index array, and after that we are just using a binary search to find the last value with respect to that snap id, because there may be 0, 5, 0, 7 as well, right? So they can call a snap we can say set function again and again on the same index. So we just try to find the last index or last value with respect to that snap id, and we are going to return that particular value. And if you still not getting it, don't worry, let's move to the implementation part. And there we are going to understand, we can say we are going to implement our logic this in C++, Java and Python. So I hope guys you will understand over there as well, right? So let's move to the implementation part. Here guys, I'm first of all with Python, so let's make it size little bigger so you can see that. So here guys, first of all what we are going to do, see we are going to first of all define our snap id, right, which is initially 0. I hope it makes sense, right? After that we are going to make an array, we can say inside of array also an empty array, right? And this is going for I underscore range, we can say of length, right? So we have declared an array of size length, right? After that we are going to come to this index function. In index function what we are going to do, in index function we are going to set, right? So we can say self dot arr of that particular index. So it's going to return us this empty array right now. So we just do nothing, append it this particular index, not index snap id, and value, right? And we can't access snap id like this, we have to use a self keyword. So now just we have appended, so there is no more to do in this in that function. Now move to the snap function. In snap function we are going to take a snapshot. So simply just you have can say snap plus equal to 1. So we have implemented snap, and we have to return the previous one. So we can say return self snap minus 1. So this was the previous one snap. Once we have written the snap, what we are going to do now, we are going to do nothing but we are going to move to the get function, and here we are going to take that particular index array. So let's say they want to tell us that initially it was giving example like this 0, we can say in get function 0, 0, like on 0 index at the what is the value at 0 index when the snap id was 0, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to take the whole array of that 0 index. So we can say elements is equal to self dot arr, and here what we are going to do, we are going to write an index, so it's going to return whole the array. Now we are going to use a binary search, that means left and right is going to be nothing but, let me write it right here, 0, 0, not 0, here length of elements minus 1. Now we are going to say while left is less than equal to right, you can say find out the mid. So we are going to find the mid is going to be nothing but left plus right divided by 2. So I'm going to use this to overcome that particular, we can say this will help you to over whenever you can say the out of bound, we can say, right? So after that what we are going to do, we are going to say find out first of all check it if elements of that particular mid of 0, which is nothing but snap id, if it is equal to or less than that particular snap id. So we can say move to the, what we could say, we can say we want to move to the right side, right? So we can increment our left should be equal to mid plus 1, right? Else we can say right should be equal to mid minus 1, move to the left side. See guys, if even if it is equal to, we are moving to the right side. Why we are moving to the right side? Because we don't want to take the first value, we want to take the last value with that equal to snap id. So after that we are going to say, after this while loop, just first of all check it. If your right is equal to minus 1, that means there is no value present with that particular snap id, right? So we can say return 0. And they have clearly mentioned that if that value is not present, so we have to return uh, 0. Here you can see initially each element equal to 0, right? So we have to return nothing but equal to 0. After that we can say return if self dot, yeah, not a self, we have to use elements of, we can say, this particular right. And here 0 index represent the snap id, but 1 index represent the value. So let's run this code now, and it should get pass the test case, right? But no, we got an error. Self dot snap, what is snap? Snap is nothing, snap id is something, right? I don't know why I do like this. Now let's run this code. Okay, here you can see guys, test case is passed. So let's try to submit this code as well, and I believe guys it should get submitted, right? Okay, it's taking a time. Here we go guys, right? So we have successfully submitted with Python, and yeah, it's fine. Now let's move to the next programming language, that is nothing but, let's take a C++ or Java, or let's take a C++. Okay, why it's taking so much time, I don't know guys. What happened to it? All right, so took this later time. So int length, first of all we are going to define a snap id. So in snap id, let me write here snap id, which is initially equal to 0. So we don't have to do here. After that we are going to define a vector, means an array. Here pair of integer and integer, and name I'm going to give array, right? Okay, and here I'm going to say snap id is going to be nothing but equal to, we can say 0, right? Whenever constructor get code. And arr dot resize, here what we are going to do, we are going to say is the size should be equal to length, right? Fine. Now we don't have to do anything. We are going to come to set function. We are going to say arr of that particular index. You have to push back nothing but, we can say, that particular snap id and value. Once this is done, we are going to come to snap. We are going to return snap id plus plus. See guys, we are returning the older one and incrementing the snap id, right? Because we are using this unit operator, and so this is going to do what we are, first it's going to return that particular thing, and after that we're going to increment by 1. After that we are going to come to the get function. Here we are going to take first of all auto, and here we are going to use elements, which is going to be nothing but, we can say, our arr of index, right? Fine. After that we are going to use a binary search. So we are going to say left is should be equal to 0, right should be equal to elements dot, we can say, size minus 1, and mid, right? After that we are going to say while left is less than equal to right, you can say find out the mid first of all. So we can say mid is going to be nothing but equal to left plus right divided by 2. After that you can say if elements of mid and 0, which is nothing but snap id, is less than equal to snap id given snap id, so we can say left should be equal to mid plus 1. Else you can say right should be equal to mid plus minus 1. After you come out from the loop, you can say if right is equal to minus 1, that means the snap id does not present in this particular array, so we can say return 0. Otherwise you can say return self dot, not self, here we can say elements, let me write elements. Here we can write a right and 1, which is nothing but value, so we are going to return that value. See guys, it is going to pass the test case, no doubt it's going to pass, but it's going to give a memory limit error. See, but here before that we have to see this is 0. Why we are using a 0 when we have used a pair? So we have to use the first and second, right? I don't know why I keep using this thing. I hope now guys it not give an error, right? So let's see. So you can see guys, it passed the test case. But when you will try to submit this particular code, you will get a memory limit error. Why? Because we are taking this like not a reference, we are just taking that particular value again in an element. So this may be bigger, like, so element size may be 10 is to power 5, right? So you will keep taking this particular thing again inside an array, so it will gonna take a memory. So we have to use this AND operator. So now what it's gonna do, it's gonna take with a reference that particular thing, because we are not changing anything in this function, right, with respect to this particular elements. So we can use it like this, and we can try to submit this code now. So now it will get submitted. All right, so now guys, you can see that it also got submitted. Fine. Let's move to the last programming language, Java. And here what we are going to do initially, first of all, let's quickly define snap id, which is initially equal to 0, but we don't have to do here. After that, we have to say array list, and inside that also array list. So let me write array list, and here we have to use a pair, and here we can see arr, right? And we know that guys, we don't have pair initially in Java, or we may have, but I don't aware about that. So I'm going to define my own class pair in first, in second, and here I can say constructor int a, int b, and here I can say first is should be equal to a and second should be equal to b, right? So I've defined my pair own pair class. Here what I'm going to do in constructor, so in constructor I'm going to say first of all snap id should be equal to 0, right? After that we can say for int I is equal to 0, I less than, let me write 0, right? So this and less than equal to length I plus plus arr dot, we can say add new, and here we can say nothing but array list, right? Fine. Once this is done, we have nothing but we have initialized our snap id equal to 0, and we have initialized our array list and empty array list of size length, right? After that, inside function we are going to say arr dot get. You have to get this particular index, and here you have to add new pair. What you are going to add? New pair snap id and value. Once this is done, here come to snap function. Here it's going to take a snapshot, so we are going to just simply return snap id plus plus. Now once this is also done, we are going to come to the get function. We are going to take first of all array list pair. Let me write a pair. All right. So this pair, the name we are going to give elements, which is equal to nothing but array list. And here inside of an array list, not array list, we can say our arr dot get this particular index. So it's going to return our array. So we have to use a binary search over here. So we can say in left is nothing but equal to 0, right is nothing but elements. We can say elements dot length, right, and -1, right? Fine. And here let me use this thing, and after that what we can say mid. Now we are going to say while left is less than equal to right, just keep moving, check first find a mid, which is nothing but left plus right divided by 2. So let me do like this, and here we can say if elements of that particular, we can say not, we have to use a cat of that particular mid, and here we can say dot first, if it is equal less than or equal to our snap id, so we can say move to the right side, right? So we can say left should be equal to mid plus 1. But if it is not the case, so what you can say right should be equal to mid minus 1. Once this is done, we are going to return, we can say return, we are going to check first of all, right? If snap we can say that particular right is equal to -1, that means there is no, we can say value present with respect to that snap id, so we can directly return 0. Otherwise we can say return elements dot get that particular right and return the second, right? Now let's run this code and see whether it's working fine or not. So guys, if you still have any doubt, because I have explained this 3 times, so that's why I just done in fast way. So giving us just nothing but length is not recognizing, so we can say dot length. So still I'm summarizing this. The first thing is nothing but we have to find a snap id equal to 0 and an array list, right? After that what we have done, we have to use a set, we have set that particular value, and then we have take a snapshot, and then we are just returning that particular value with respect to that snap id, right? So now it's giving an error that a length is not there. All right, so let's take a size, right? What happened to it, I don't know. Okay, now let's see. Cannot invoke a null pointer, right? Fine, no issue. We're gonna see what is the issue over here. Error array. All right, so we haven't like done this array of this, right? So basically we have just defined the array, but we haven't initialized it with the array list, right? So and whenever we do like this, we have to tell them that like this is an array list, right? So now you can see that all the test case passed finally. I really care about this Java programming language. I got a lot of error. So now let's try to submit this code, and hopefully it should get submitted, right? We don't want to see any more error in Java. And here we go, guys. Finally it got submitted. So we have successfully implemented our logic in C++, Java, and Python programming language, right? I hope you understood the logic part, understanding part, as well as implementation part. If you have any kind of doubt, you can write in the comment section. I'm always there to help you. And if you learn something in this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video.